Hello, friends. This is Alia Jamal, the love coach, and I'm coming here for day 6 of our 30-day series on relationship with yourself. My intention was to do it continuously, and I know it has not been put out continuously. So there have been some gaps, but we are definitely going to do 30 parts of it. We are talking about part 6 today, day 6. And today we are talking about the ways you abuse yourself. Now, this is a part that triggers most of us, especially when we start to do deeper work and we start to see what's really going on within us, in our thoughts, internally, in our psychology, in our consciousness. When we start to go deeper, that is one of the things we discovered, and that is something that I help my clients work through. So last time we talked about the ways you neglect yourself. So that would be like, me just going around, running around, not really paying attention to what's going on in me, what's going on around me, what's going on with my body. It's just that go, go, go situation. The way self-abuse is different is you know what's going on and you still go ahead and do it. So let's look at this example. Let's say your leg is hurting. You know that your leg is hurting and it's not a mystery, but you still are using it in a way as if it's not hurting. That is self-abuse. Now, just let that sink in. I know we all do it all the time as an adult, and this is something we actually learn in our childhood, that it's good to abuse yourself. There's something wrong with you. That's why you're supposed to abuse yourself. This behavior starts with a core wound that I'm not worthy of love or I'm not lovable. That is where it really starts. But I would invite you to look in your life where you're abusing yourself, where you know a person is not good for you, but you're still staying in that relationship, where you know a conversation is not good for you, but you're still having that conversation, where you know some food is not good for you, but you're still eating it. That is self-abuse. And when we are not connected with the inner being that lives within us, that is when it's easier for us to abuse ourselves. And that disconnect happened at some point in our childhood through a traumatic event or whatever was going on around us. And we have internalized a decision that that is how I'm going to treat myself. And that creates a disconnect. When there's a disconnect and now you're doing wrong things to yourself, it doesn't really go deeper. It's almost like we are numb. From a place of self-abuse, we can use drugs, we can use alcohol, we can use food to numb our pain, we can use sex to numb our pain, we can do all kind of stuff. Because deep down, we are not even connected. It's almost like we are hitting ourselves and we are not even realizing we are hitting ourselves because we are not connected with a deeper part of us. So we don't even allow ourselves to feel our own abuse. And the unfortunate thing is most of us adults who are involved in self-abuse, we don't even realize we are doing it. We think we are so loving, so kind to ourselves. And then when I help my clients go through a list of ways they are abusing themselves, there's a jaw drop moment. Oh my God, I never thought I'm doing all that to myself. I personally started there. I thought I was such a loving and kind person towards others and towards myself. But when I started looking at my own behavior from a different perspective, I found so much disconnect going on and so much self-abuse going on. So this is all good information. If you can see it in your psychology, that is good information, but what do we do with that? Well, we get to make a decision, and you can make the decision right now. Do you want to continue staying in an abusive relationship with yourself? Or do you want it to transform into a loving and kind relationship? First, that decision has to be made. And if you're having a hard time making that decision, another question needs to be asked, why do I want to have a loving and kind relationship? Why not just have an abusive relationship? Life is going, I'm good. So the reason we want to have a loving, kind relationship, whenever you're abusing something or somebody, you are putting more pressure on it than it can take. Think of an animal. If for those of us who have seen parts of the world where animals are used for labor, the owner knows the limit of the animal. They cannot put more than that. If they do put that, it creates a frustration within the animal. It can go crazy. It can run wild. In some cases, it can even kill itself. Um, but it's not healthy. That is something we know, that it is not healthy for an animal to be abused. Now bring that in within you. Is it healthy for you to abuse yourself? Over time, your body is going to start developing all kind of diseases, not just physical, but also emotional, but also mental. That is something that will start happening from that place. And if it continue, it's going to impact your whole life. It's going to impact your relationships. It's going to impact the quality of your life. So it's very important we do the work to stay congruent within ourselves, where we are not turning against ourselves. So that if that convinced you, amazing. If that didn't convince you, I would say reach out to me. So maybe we can have a one-on-one conversation and I can go deeper with you, all the ways you're abusing yourself. But let's say if you have made the decision to develop a loving and nurturing relationship, it will start watching your own behavior. Where do you knowingly go against yourself? So what that would be, you're feeling so tired. You don't have a, a drop of juice left in you, but then you still push yourself to do something because pay attention to what is the because in your mind, because that is where we use all kind of excuses, all kind of limiting beliefs to make ourselves do things. And most of the time we are abusing ourselves in our relationships. In our relationship, it shows up that, we are doing things that we really don't want to do, and we know that we don't want to do it, but we are doing it because we are either afraid of losing the relationship, or we are afraid of other person judging us, or we are afraid of not getting their validation. Most of the self-abuse goes on in that category. And that is where you can allow yourself to pause. The first step would be becoming aware where you're doing it. The second step would be allowing you to pause and ask yourself, is it worth abusing myself? Is it worth hurting myself in the long run? Is it worth manipulating myself? Is it worth going against myself? Now, if you're not with yourself to begin with, those might be hard questions to work through. But once you start asking those questions, something within you will start waking up, because what's happening, you're becoming aware of you. You're becoming of an inner being. You're not disconnected with it anymore. Think of it this way. If you are a parent, and it would be easier for a parent to relate to that, and then you have a child, and you have kind of neglected that child for a long time because you were just too busy. And then maybe at some point you were like, hitting that child too, physically abusing it, or maybe emotionally abusing it. And then one day you realize how damaging that is. And usually that happens when we read our first self-help book or children's psychology book. And then we're like, oh my God, all these things I'm doing are wrong to my child. And then first you become aware, and then you pause and you're like, is it worth hurting my own kid just because I want to impress so and so? That awareness, your child can feel it, and your child feel the joy of it. And over time, that bond would heal and nurture, and that child would be on your side and you'll be on the side of that child. And there would be a beautiful, joyful feeling that will come forward from that relationship. The exact same thing happens within you. If you're looking for peace and joy outside of you, my friend, it only exists within you. And one of the ways you can get access to it is learn how to stop abusing yourself. So this brings us to the conclusion of today's conversation. If this is something that resonates with you, you're ready to jump into this kind of work, I would highly suggest go to aliajamalcoaching.com. You can book a consultation with me. I would love to be your guide on making your real home, which is within you, peaceful and joyful. That is all for today. I'm sending you so much love, and I'll be back with day 6. Bye.